Hello and welcome to our FogCutter Live. I'm Mike Curtis here with Preston James. Preston, it's good to be back. We were off last week with the Labor Day holiday. It feels like it's been a minute. So I know
Yeah,
you're excited to dive in. We just have a ton to talk about this week as far as kind of the roller coaster ride of last week. We saw the S&P do a little rebalancing, reshuffling. So a couple big names to talk about there that just got added to the S&P. And then we're coming into just a big stretch of some economic announcements this week and a FOMC meeting next week. So say
yeah,
hello. We got a lot on tap.
yeah, we really do. And at the same time, earnings are really winding down to a close, but then other things seem to take center stage. I can't help but think also, I have not Googled this yet, but Robinhood and AppLovin both added to the S&P, making a splash today. But sometimes you don't think about that there's two companies that had to get booted off the S&P 500. I would imagine they're not liking today.
No, I think it was MGM. I'm trying to remember. I think there was three that came off, three that went on. Yeah. So the two that we know for sure, because we were trading them last week, Preston, but Robinhood, AppLovin. But yeah, I pulled up the quote on Robinhood. It's up over 13 percent on the news that they're being added to the S&P 500. AppLovin is up 49 points, up 10% as
Mhm.
well. So big news, of course, when you're part of that index, just more attention, more inflows. So always great news for the stocks being added to that. Oh, and Preston, the one that we were looking at on Friday, you had an option chain up and you're like, look at strategy, ticker symbol MSTR. That was one that was being considered, and it had all this premium left in these options that were about to expire. And what we were looking at it with 20 minutes left.
I've never seen anything like it. That had to have something to do with it.
It was, yeah. So they were one that was being considered, and they didn't make the cut. So yeah, MGM is down a little bit, not anything too crazy. That might have been something that they'd been expecting. But MicroStrategy off 8 points today, down about 2.5%.
And tell me, Mike, and I'm not sure what schedule or what the powers that be when they decide these. I think I want to start Googling that a little bit more and finding out. But tell me, MSTR, most likely by the end of the year. Again, I don't know how many opening slots they have to decide, but tell me that's inevitable that that one joins.
I would say so. Yeah. So
And
the way
what
they
the
do it,
result will be when that happens.
yeah, it'll get its bounce when that comes to. So they have to meet some criteria to become eligible. There's a few things. I remember researching it maybe 6 months ago. A certain amount of profitability and market cap, and then amount of shares in the floats. There's some qualifiers to even be considered to join the S&P. You kind of have to check a few boxes, but then the final say goes to a committee. So they look at it. Is it relevant? Of course, out of the 500 stocks in the S&P 500, they don't want all tech companies. They try to diversify it just a little bit. So there is a committee that does a little bit of that final say, and it's a quarterly thing where they come in and look at that and do the rebalancing. And crazy enough, they announce it right after the close on expiration Friday. So in the option pricing, they don't take that settlement price until a little bit into the after hours trading. So that's why we were seeing that crazy pricing on the
I'm sure that's
options,
what it
because there's
was.
that little bit
Yeah,
of news that could hit before they take that settlement price. So little
interesting.
strange, unique thing to see. But bottom line is it's great news for Robinhood. It's great news for AppLovin. They're seeing a really nice pop on that news of being added to the S&P 500.
Yes, and I would dare say that because the world is more tech, I wouldn't be. I don't know that they're. Oh, we have to have a. We're taking a real estate company off like MGM or casino. Hey, we have to have a real estate company come on. I don't know. I think they try to be representative of the current world as we go
Definitely.
forward. So there's that. It's probably S&P 500 is more tech today than it was 10 years ago, and
I
probably more tech 10 years from now.
Definitely, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about just what we saw last week. So we talked about the Friday reshuffling, rebalancing of the S&P. It was a shortened trading week, right? We had Monday, the Labor Day holiday, and we started off September after that Labor Day holiday, September 2nd, the first trading day of the month, just on a sour note. The futures gapped down. There was selling right at the open, and the market struggled, but it kind of bounced off of those lows, and then it carried a little bit of that bullish momentum. Even though Monday still finished down, it had rallied a little bit off of those lows. It carried that momentum um, into Wednesday, into Thursday, and then Friday we had our first Friday of the month. That's when the jobs report is released about an hour before the market open. So, Preston, let's maybe just color that up a little bit, where the jobs report came out and it was showing a little bit softer jobs market, little softer number that they were expecting. In the futures rallied on that. That hour between the report and the market going live, opening for the trading day, the futures really rallied on that bad news. And so maybe we could color that up for the people why the market liked that news at first.
I know it kind of gets backwards where you can see that news doesn't seem to be too promising for the economy, but over on the interest rate side, it's dictating to the Fed favorable things for the market of what the market wants. The market is anticipating, I think you saw the latest 88% is
Mm-hmm.
that there'll be a quarter point drop. And now creeping in, what were you just seeing before we got on here? You were seeing something that there's now a 12% possibility of the half point
Right.
rate cut, which I
Yep. So
believe the
that,
market would like even more.
yeah, exactly. So that bad news on Friday from that jobs report, the market looked at that as, oh, great, here's some bad news that will give the Fed even more justification to go in to rate cutting mode. And so once in a while, you'll get into this dynamic in the market where bad news is really good news. And so we saw that a little bit on that jobs report reaction where, okay, even though it looks like the jobs are softening, that should give the Fed a little more conviction to go into this rate cutting mode because of the potential that maybe the jobs market or the economy is softening just a little bit. And that's why we saw those futures rally. But then the market did a kind of a 180 in that first hour, hour and a half, just gave up all those gains and quickly traded into negative territories. People digested that news a little bit more. But yeah, so to your point, Preston, next week, FOMC meeting, they meet every 6 weeks, and this one is on tap. It looks like there should be some rate cut, like Preston, you just mentioned. 88% likelihood is what the futures are pricing in, a quarter of a point rate cut. And now, since that bad news, that bad jobs report on Friday, we're now seeing about a 12% likelihood of a half point rate cut. So, of course, rate cuts are a great thing for the stock market.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe we got into the FogCutter this far, Mike, without me explaining this wallpaper choice behind me here today.
Yeah, we better hit pump the brakes and explain that, because
Yeah, they didn't come into my normal land office and do this. I happen to be coming to you from, as you know, Omaha, Nebraska. I was whisked here by my girlfriend. My birthday was yesterday, and Omaha has kind of come up in our dating life in good ways, but she decided to take me here, and she pulled it off to where I did not know where we were as the plane was pulling into the gate, not leaving the gate, pulling in. I did not know what city we were in. As it turns out, I'm in this really fun Indigo hotel. Nothing but great stuff to say about Omaha, by the way. We're about a mile away from Warren Buffett's favorite McDonald's, and he likes to do the drive-through as much as he likes to go in. And apparently, if the market's had a good week for him, he goes hog wild and does a little fancier McDonald's combo. And if it's just no lie. And if it's a more challenging week in the market, he goes lighter, he goes smaller, doesn't go as fancy.
that's
But
funny.
whatever he's doing is working. So
That's awesome. So, yeah, big happy birthday to
Thanks,
you,
man.
Preston. I know there's been an outpouring of love from our Trader's Edge clients as you've been at the helm of Trader's Edge for the last 22 years. And we've had clients with you literally that entire time that have
Yeah,
followed you, and a lot of outpouring for the head pirate, the
it's
captain's
fun, man.
birthday there.
Got a lot of stuff via text. I haven't got back to you guys yet. I'm working on it still.
No, you're great. You're great. I'm glad you're having a good time. So, all right, let's talk real quick, then we'll get you back to some of your birthday trip fun and what you've got going on today. But what's coming up on tap this week? Again, right in line with that interest rate discussion is our PPI, the producer price index, which is kind of an inflation gauge, right? What are the prices of at the producer level? That's coming out on Wednesday. And then Thursday is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index report. Both of those give us kind of a clue on just pricing. Inflation really is the underlying important note on that is what are prices doing? Because, of course, if the reason the Fed has been hesitant to cut rates is they're trying to make sure that inflation is under control as it ran rampant a little while back. So anything you're really watching or thinking about on that front, Preston?
No, they notoriously carry a high potential market impact, both of those reports. Both of those reports will be announced before the market open on Wednesday and Thursday. There's a new Michigan consumer sentiment. They just go back for years now doing it. It's called the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey. That actually will come out during market hours in the morning on Friday. That could wave a little bit just because we're getting so close
Right.
to the actual decision. And then the earnings I'm watching, well, on Tuesday, new Apple products revealed. So tomorrow, I mean, that's always kind of exciting. I guess the phones get thinner, they get more memory. This would link to that. What do they have up their sleeve in the new AI world?
Right.
We can only imagine. That's kind of a big deal. That's coming tomorrow. Oracle announces earnings after the close Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Adobe after the close Thursday, and then Restoration Hardware is after the close on Thursday. All
Yeah.
have weekly options. I'm watching all those.
Yeah. So good to keep an eye out on those, especially if you're in a position on any of those. Preston always said it's one of the trading commandments, right? Know thy earnings dates.
Yes,
Make sure you know
absolutely.
when your positions are reporting earnings. So, Preston, as we wrap this one up, we got a fun question, a fun story from a client. But you jumped in before we get to that. You jumped into a recent money press trade on a firm. Maybe we could just take a couple minutes, color up what you were seeing, what you like about it. They've recently gotten through their earnings report as well, right? Which is kind of a prime
Yes.
time to look at starting a money press. Maybe you could just share with the folks some insights on a firm there.
Yeah, as you can see, the highest volume day of the year just recently happened, and it popped a firm up into new 52-week high territory. Um, and however it closed, it did. That's why it turned that volume bar red. But overall, this is a gap up higher into new ground. It's super compelling. But to the degree that that happens, we like to wait and let it digest, see if there's some profit taking. And we call that the 3-day rule. But
Right.
we gave it some time to digest it. It's in a way the edge and odds for a firm is it holds this ground, if not move higher. We have a great environment in general for stocks. This is proving to be one of the highlight leaders. If someone's new to it, they're the basically sitting on top as kings of the BNPL word. Mike, you might not know that. Your boys might
I
not
do.
know that, but I bet some other people in your life know what it's called. And I'm not saying for you, I'm just saying the women of the, I'm digging myself a hole here and I'm being watched over here, but it's called buy now, pay later, right? Affirms in the shopping carts with Amazon. And look, all we know is this is how other people that are smarter than us are more connected than us and have more money than us. This is what they're doing with the firm stock. So
Right.
I love it for money press purposes. We slapped one on late last week and we're off and running. It's got compelling weekly premiums. Yes, to a firm with a money press for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're newer to Trader's Edge, Preston shares some of these trades he's doing, the exact details, when he starts it, the strike prices he's picking. So it's a great way to learn the money press by seeing some examples. If you want to trade it along with Preston, that's entirely up to you. You can size it up, see if it makes sense for you. But if you want to check out that Wow Insider service, it's freeinsidertrial.com. You can check that out. You can go try it out for free. We're low key. We want you to see if it's a good fit for you, but it just is a great way to learn the trading strategy, a fun community. You get a Friday webinar with Preston. It can really springboard you into trading the money press and seeing some of that weekly income. Say, let's hit on this client spotlight. Really fun story that came in. This is from Ronald, Winchester, Virginia. He said, Preston, the money press has been a game changer. Being part of Trader's Edge is showing me the path to financial freedom that I always knew were achievable, but just could not navigate. Thank you to you, Mike, and everybody at Trader's Edge. This is just amazing. We just finished our small account mastery series. We call it SAMS for short, the acronym, where Preston takes a $10,000 account, trades it for 10 weeks in front of people. And so Ronald was part of that small account mastery series. And he says, during SAMS 2025, I traded 2 accounts. Combined, they were about 15,000, and as of today, they total over $37,000, a little over 3 months. So pretty crazy. I'm sure he was on some of those fun trades. Preston just you picked out some awesome positions that just really
Got some
performed
good ones
great.
this year. Yeah.
So, and I think that was our 13th year, if I 12, 13, I can't remember
It was
exactly.
13. Yeah.
Was it 13? And so pretty amazing track record. I think you're like 11 out of 13 profitable. One was the 2022 bear market where you still were
Yeah.
close to turning out a profit. So
Some markets are
really,
almost
really fun
impossible to
series.
navigate. Yeah. In a 10-week period of time, but it is what it is.
So yeah, it's you're kind of on the clock, right? You're like, oh, I've got these 2.5 months, 3 months to
Man,
try to pull this out. So really fun to see that performance. Thanks for sending that in, Ronald. We love hearing about that. We love hearing it. Other people love hearing it. It can be a great motivation. So to wrap this up, swinging back to Robinhood, ticker symbol HOOD. The question came in, is Robinhood, is HOOD a good money press candidate as it will be added to the S&P 500? And I think this question came in Friday before we saw the sharp price action. We knew they was going to
right.
like the news. You never know how much, but Preston, what are your thoughts on Robinhood here as it's up about 14%, up $14 today?
I know. One thing I just noticed this when this chart came up, but this is a 1-year chart. But if you look at the volume bars at the bottom of the screen, maybe the first third of the chart, we see the volume bars where they are. And then look at the interest that is developed in Robinhood just overall, just with the volume bar. Just looks like the jungle grows thicker. And it pulled back like all these stocks did. We went through a market correction and those April lows, but it just seems in another paradigm here with the accumulation happening to a stock like this. And then to culminate today in S&P 500 membership.
Mm.
For me, and so here I just said I'm in Omaha and Warren Buffett's favorite McDonald's is a mile up the hill. Well, just 2 blocks down the hill is the headquarter building of Union Pacific Railroad that started in 1862 and so been around the block a little bit longer. I don't think the stock can't grow like Robinhood. It is
Right.
what it is. There's a railroad, and here we have new app and growing like leaps and bounds. I mean, I am involved with Robinhood. It's mostly on stock ownership and long-term call option because it's in this growth trajectory. And I'm not saying you can't make money with the money press. I would just say, and Union Pacific's on the complete other side of the paradigm, but it's just interesting that it's down the street.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
would probably be money pressing more on a Union Pacific, little more boring. It's not taking over the world anytime soon. They already did that. There's already the track built. The growth's already there. And I guess two paradigms here, but I'm just saying you could be in a money press and make money with it. I think it might be better though to be long, and we can do strategies, Mike, that aren't exactly the money press that take advantage of more of this growth. And it's just basically being exposed with call options, especially on this pullback that it just recently did. You know, it
Hmm.
grows and grows, it rolls over a little bit, it rolls over right on a 50-day moving average, starts to curl and turn up higher. I mean, that's go time.
For sure.
So what would you have to add to that?
No, I think that's really good insight because the money press, the sweet spot, if you will, it makes money if the stock goes down a little bit, but we can hit our max profit if the stock really doesn't move from Friday to Friday. And then we make money if it goes up a little bit, right? So if it goes up too high too fast in a week, right? If we'd built a money press on this, we probably would be at a break even for the week, even though the stock's up 14% today, because it can run so much where the weekly income just kind of offsets our insurance loss for the week. So the money press does have a sweet spot where the stock going up is fine, but if it goes up too high too fast, which I think is the potential that Robinhood can, it can cover a lot of
Exactly.
ground. That you could definitely money press it. This is one that I'd look, like you said, a little more long call, maybe buying some of the stock, doing a little more of a directional trade on it with some of that news and just the characteristics of the stock having some more of that giddy up and go.
It's in a growth phase. And all I was
Absolutely.
doing comparing to a railroad is they had they were growing like mad 100 years ago, but then what? The country fills in, right? And there's almost so much track. I mean, so every company's is in their own way. And I try to keep that in the back of my mind when I apply the money press strategy.
Definitely. No, that's great insight. And just to your point, I looked it up. Robinhood is averaging about 44 million shares a day, where back December, January was more like 17, 18 million.
About that.
I mean, yeah, at least doubled plus in average daily volume.
Yes.
Um, so a lot going on there. So I think that's great stuff, Preston. Why don't we wrap it up on that note? Thank you for your insights. Thanks for peeling away during your birthday trip. Um,
Pleasure.
we're glad to be back after taking the holiday off last week, and we'll be back next week with more on our FogCutter Live to help bring some clarity and some guidance to help you cut through all the noise and the fog out there in the markets as you're trading for the week. So, Preston, have fun, travel safe, and we can't wait to have you back in the land office.
Hey, we'll do, man. Good to be with you.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.